Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Any Revs UK, all things Revolution from a UK perspective. Right, hello everybody, and welcome back to Any Revs UK, a podcast, all things New England Revolution from a UK perspective. Now, this isn't kind of some kind of illusion. I have actually uploaded another podcast as well. Normally you have to wait 2 weeks for these kind of things, but I've managed to get some time in now, and I'm going to kind of talk to you about, obviously, the game against Seattle Sounders. So it's going to be another really small bite-sized one, guys. Obviously, it's just me kind of letting you know my thoughts on the Revolution. Obviously, the transfer window now should be open for you guys as well. Hopefully, we'll bring in some decent players. I put a little poll out earlier as well, guys, about kind of where you think the Revolution need to strengthen. At the moment, it's kind of swaying between the defence and the strikers. Couldn't agree more, to be fair, guys, with you as well. I think that's definitely kind of something we need to kind of be looking at and addressing. We're going to obviously kind of talk about transfers first of all, and then we're going to dive into this game against Seattle Sounders, and then we're looking forward to the game against the LA Galaxy as well. So talking about transfers, we keep hearing Bojan's name kind of being touted around. Obviously for me, if that could happen, as I mentioned in the last podcast, it would be a really, really good signing. One, not just for the fact of the name of Bojan, but the fact that he is still a really, really good player as well. It's not like, he's a completely washed up 35-year-old. It is kind of, somebody who's got a lot of time still left, I think, and can offer a really, really good kind of, mentality to the Revolution, and also that I think would really, really fit quite well into what Brad's ethos and philosophy is. I'm just actually looking, guys, it's actually 54% now in favour of defence. We've got 2% in the midfield about where the Revolutions need to strengthen. 13% of you say attacking midfielder, and then 31% of you are actually saying the striking role now. So it's now looking more like the defensive situation. For me, as I said, if we could bring in Bojan, that would be actually awesome. Not really hearing too much else concrete from any other sources. There's lots of names kind of flying around and rumours. I posted quite a few polls myself, talking about kind of New England Revolution, all that kind of stuff that on social media side of things. Obviously, I did put a post out the other day, which some people did agree with. Some people called it bullshit. For me, it was a little bit harsh to read. It was kind of basically talking about that, yes, New England have kind of, wowed people, have done, above expectation, but that people are now thinking that this is it for the Revolution now. We will kind of drop off. We've got a tough run, which, we have got a tough run now. But they're saying that, that although Brad's impressed them, that our defence is weak, we're kind of getting people now know what we're about, so we are getting found out. And we don't really have that plan B. Now, I thought the plan B situation was kind of what we showcased in the Cup game. As such, I thought that was kind of a good kind of thing for us to show. I think the plan B at the moment basically is to swap Zahibo and Casito out and put Caldwell and Rowe in. That really, for me, isn't really a plan B. Obviously, when we went to 5 at the back, that's a plan B. That's a different change of formation. That's a different kind of, way to play. So sometimes, yes, it's great to have a main kind of core philosophy, 100% work on it all the time, but you've got to have them times where you're coming up against a team and they just know how you're going to play, they're going to know your style, and they counterbalance it that well that it basically you just wipe each other out. That's when you need to change then, not just change personnel. You sometimes need to look at it and go, okay, how can we actually switch the formation now? Do we need to actually go really narrow and bring our play right into the centre of the pitch here? Or if we're already playing narrow, which is very unlikely because we generally play quite wide, expansive football, then obviously do we need to then obviously go out wider? But for me, I think Brad's got to really sit back and look sometimes that when we are struggling, that maybe he does just pull Pinilla and he does pull whoever's playing on the right hand side, like Nemeth or Agadello, just pulls them in and plays all 3 of them behind the striker. So we've got 3 attacking midfielders. You then switch to a 5 at the back. So you've got your 3 centre backs and you've got your 2 wing backs, and they kind of have got width. If we need width, it's there. But if not, we're going to congest that midfield and just play through the centre of the park. And for me, I think that could work. I've not really seen it very much. We've got very talented players, to be fair. We've got Pinilla on the ball, running a defence in any position. Doesn't have to be out wide. Playing in the ball to Bunbury all the time isn't working. It's not working. Bunbury, he has done a decent he's had a decent run of form. He's not played as bad as what most people thought when they first saw that Bunbury's going to be our striker. And hats off to him. He's doing really well. But I do think it's time now that we've got to really start seeing, unless we bring in some players to add depth. But even then, I still think we've got to have an option of a plan B. We've got to start looking at this. Even if we don't bring any players in, we've now got to start thinking about, okay, if it is 0-0 and we are just fighting each other, it's end-to-end kind of stuff, but aren't really breaking through. What do we do? It's not just about bringing Callum Rowe on and hoping that he'll push a little bit forward, so that gives us another attacking option. That's not really kind of doing it. It is about the fact that you kind of change your whole, not philosophy as such. We can still play the high press, we can still play the same kind of aggressive football, but just bring it narrow. Bring it really, really narrow. Just congest the midfield. And if they want to break down the side, that's fine. We've got 5 at the back. We've got 5 at the back, and maybe Zahibo sitting in front. It's not always about the fact that we need this wide, expansive play. Sometimes it's great, and some teams that are playing narrow, it'll work quite well against, especially if they've only got 4 at the back and we're attacking with 4 players. It's leaving you on a 4-on-4 situation. Great. But obviously, I do think teams are starting to suss us out, and it's quite evident, obviously, in the match against Seattle Sounders, that is pretty much what happened. And we'll kind of touch on that later. But talking about, obviously, transfers, as I said, bringing Bojan in, yes, I think that'd be a great option. Possibly putting him out on that right-hand side there, so that we'll then have Pania, Rowe and Bojan. All 3 of them players are more than capable of squishing into that middle 3 and playing 3 off the striker, or even completely playing strikerless, not having Teal Bunbury, just playing 3 kind of, shadow strikers as such, all kind of having a free role up there, and or even just playing Fundunkes as a kind of false 9 if you excuse me, that wasn't good. Hopefully Predis and Mike would have edited that horrible noise that just came out of me out. But yeah, maybe trying Diego up top, playing him as a false 9. That could be, that could definitely work. But yeah, other than that, we've not really seen much transfer news. That kind of more went in a ramble towards tactics than anything than transfer. But we're starting to see names, but nothing really concrete. As I said, it's slightly depressing sometimes when you're seeing other teams obviously signing players. It's great the fact that obviously we are being kind of talked about with other teams. Bojan is kind of a player in a little demand at the moment. Quite a lot of teams are looking at him, and I think it's quite pleasing about that we're even in the same breadth as some of those teams as well. I did hear a very sure rumour about Bojan, sorry, not Bojan, we'll talk about Bojan, sorry, Torres, another Spanish player. Fernando Torres coming. For me, I think he might have gone to Japan, I'm not too sure. I did read other reports saying that he basically already signed a pre-contract with the Japanese team. But for me, Torres, I don't know. He's aging. I don't want to kind of get into this thing where we just bring aging stars into the team. But for me, if we could get an affiliation with not even an English team, it doesn't have to be an English team, it could be an Italian team, a team in the top league of European football, where we basically have a choice to loan some of their players with an option potentially to buy out, or have at least first option if they do wish to sell them younger players on. And maybe, bring in some really, really talented young players. It might just be for the season, which I know obviously isn't kind of what we want to build our kind of whole franchise on, bringing in loan players and relying on those for a season and bringing in another load of loan players. That's not what we want, but also at the same time, we kind of need to build up a little bit of hype around the kind of New England Revolution branding. Because at the moment we're not the most popular team. Some might say it's where the ground is, and because of the fact that we're in the shadow of the Patriots. Some might say it's because we've not got a big name player. But for me, you don't always have to have a big name player to have a great fan base. It is just about bringing the players in, bringing the fans in. Sorry. So we could maybe try dropping ticket prices slightly, just to kind of get people in, especially when it's warmer weather. And then maybe just put, making sure that while we're there, it's obviously football's a very fickle sport, but I mentioned this before when we was kind of having a debate over on social media that the team I support back in England is Leeds United, a team which, we're now only in the Championship. We were in the Premiership. We were doing quite well. I was in Europe. We then hit administration. We spent far too much money trying to basically buy our way to glory. It didn't work. We owed loads of money. We lost our ground. We actually got relegated to the Championship. We then got a 15-point deducted because we was in administration. We then obviously got relegated to League One. But still, in League One, in the English pyramid system, we were still getting 30,000 people to our games. 30,000 people in League One. We broke all kinds of records. For even at away games, we were still just taking our full allocation every single. It's not like people said, "Oh, I'm not going to support Leeds anymore." You know, the ownership was absolutely, you know, in the wrong. Then we got a new owner in, and he just made us into a bit of a circus. It was absolutely awful being a Leeds United fan for a good number of years, and it's still not. You know, it's actually getting there now. It's actually getting there now, but it's still not the best. But we are kind of heading in the right direction. That's kind of what I think of New England now. I think we're both very similar teams. Might be kind of why I was originally drawn to them 4 years ago. I'm not too sure, but you know, we've not got the best ownership. Although Leeds now actually does have a decent ownership, but you know, we've been through tough times, and we've now kind of starting to see that the things are moving the right way. And I do think, you know, if New England carry on this and Brad does a good job and gets us to where we need to be, I do think we'll start getting a few more fans. But then that kind of seems kind of fake that we're getting fans because we're starting to win things. That shouldn't be. It should just be. You support New England, that's it. If you choose New England to be your team, that is your team. You don't just stop supporting them, like, no matter what they do. Unless they, you know, somebody from the New England Revolution camp does something horrible to your family, I think you support them through thick or thin. It is hard being a New England Revolution fan. I completely understand. I've done it now for 4 years. Only vocally really about it for the last 2 years. Kind of over social media and obviously the podcast, but yeah, it is tough. I understand it, but at the same time, I do think that there's not as much negativity around New England as there is other teams, especially in England. That you have some absolute toxic fans out there who just, I don't even know whether they support their team, they say, because they're just horrible constantly on social media about their team. I don't really see that much of it over on the Revs. I do see obviously a bit of negativity. Completely understand it. Sometimes I'm like it myself as well. But would I ever start supporting Revolution? No, not a chance. Not a chance in hell. Even if they start doing a promotion and relegation thing and New England somehow got relegated from the top tier, would I start supporting them? No, they're my team. That is it. End of story. But kind of, yeah, that's gone off completely off tangent there. But I kind of just need to get off my chest because it was a little bit of a thing. Well, it's fair, talking about getting things off your chest, we're now going to move over to the game against Seattle as well. And where do I start from that as well? It wasn't the best game, was it? It was pretty boring. To be fair, I watched the first 15 minutes live and then I had to go to sleep because I was just absolutely dead on my feet and I couldn't stay up and I wasn't really going to pay any attention. So I did watch it the next morning. Sorry, it's just really hard sometimes for me to watch the games live. But I did watch the first 15 minutes and I thought, oh, okay, we're actually doing really well. We're putting them under pressure. They don't seem to really understand what's going on. I thought this is going to be a good game. I'm going to wake up tomorrow, see the result, and then watch it back and think, oh, this is absolutely stunning play. Obviously, to wake up and see the fact that we won 0-0, I was kind of thinking, oh, do I really want to watch it? You know, and looking at the stats as well, I was a bit like, okay, there were some shots, you know, chances created were okay. It must have been quite a decent 0-0 draw. Oh boy, was I wrong. It was, yeah, such a drab affair. Definitely not a good advert for Major League Soccer. Would not show anyone that match at all because it definitely doesn't showcase what these two very good teams as well, and from previous results as well. I don't know what happened. I don't know. It's just obviously teams struggling to get back. You know, after the kind of international break, I thought both teams would be refreshed and raring to go, but that just definitely did not seem the case. Both teams just looked really lethargic. Apart from that first 15 minutes, I did see quite a lot of good play from New England then. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it was just really bad, really bad. I'm trying to think of moments that really stood out for me, and I can't really think of much. For me, I think Andrew Farrell on the right-hand side, he had a really good game. I think Pania, he pretty much doesn't really have a bad game, does he? I wouldn't say obviously it wasn't his best game, but it wasn't a bad game at all. He didn't really do much wrong. I don't think Teal had a very good game at all. I was really surprised that Teal actually didn't get bought off. I thought that would have been kind of, you know, the easiest option to do. But I mean, he took off Scotty Caldwell. Again, he wasn't having the best game. And to be fair, when Somi came on, I think Somi actually played. I think that's the best I've seen him in a Revolution shirt. He was really energetic. I was actually quite impressed with him. So I'm not too sure. I think Brad's got a bit of a dilemma now at left back because Claude before has been performing quite well. Wasn't having the best game. Wasn't really having the best game at all. And then when Somi came on, I do think he had a really good game. To be fair, I think the whole defence had a good game. Claude maybe not the best, but you know, Annie Barbar and Tony, Matt Turner didn't really have that much to do. But yeah, quite good. I mean, Scotty Caldwell for me didn't have the best game in a Rev shirt for him. It was yeah, it kind of just looked like he was. I love this. I love this about Scotty sometimes, that he just chases constantly, wants to get the ball back. But for me, the way the game was going, he kept getting caught out of position too much for my liking. And because we didn't have a Zahibo there, we had Casido, who again is a great player, had a decent game. He wasn't kind of as disciplined as what I sometimes see from Zahibo. He was kind of caught again when Caldwell was out of position. He wasn't like he was there then standing in front of the back four. He was kind of left maybe out of position, or just again, it wasn't kind of as disciplined, as I said, as you see sometimes from Wilf. I think it wasn't again a terrible performance from Callum Rowe, but I'm just kind of still waiting, and I'm pleading, like, come on, Callum, what does he need? Where is the Rowe from last season? Is it the loss of, and I've seen people say this game was crying out for Lee Win, but is it the fact that him and Lee just worked so well together, and he's now kind of not kind of found that connection with Pania and Diego? Maybe, I'm not too sure. Obviously, I would have liked to see maybe Brandon Boy brought on there. I keep saying this, but I would like to have seen Brandon Boy given an opportunity on that right attacking line. I think just if we keep playing him and get the more game time he gets, he could be a huge asset now. I think he's got to gamble on him sometime. We can't just keep doing that, because that was it was just terrible. It was a really bad match. And as I mentioned, Teal didn't have his best game. Diego again kept quite quiet as well. From the Seattle point of view, I mean, I think Christian Rowland, he had a really good game for them, and Tolo as well at the back. Other than that, they didn't really wow me either. I think their kind of front three, I suppose you could say, of Rodriguez, Ekrem and Bruin didn't really threaten as much either. There was moments, but either team, really honestly, you could tell from when I watched it back that neither team looked like they were going to score. It did look like they were playing out for the 0-0. Both teams overly cautious, not wanting to get caught out. Both teams knew each other's tactics inside out and just played. That's what I'm talking about. They just played to, they knew what the team was going to do. And both managers, to be fair, didn't change things up as much as I think they could have done. Both managers played it really safe. The one thing I did like is obviously the introduction of Clint Dempsey around the 60th minute. Mark got a really nice ovation from Revs fans as well. That was really pleasing to see. But other than that, I've not really got much else to say. It was a bad match, a really bad match. And yeah, I suppose the less said about that, the better, really. But we need a plan B. And we need some players in. We do need some players in. I've put loads of polls up about players who I thought, and players' names that I thought we could get in. Some of them probably really unrealistic. Some of them more definitely are players that we could bring in. There's a lot of debate obviously going on about Jeff Cameron at the moment. I don't really want to touch on that subject because my political stance over in the US, I don't really understand it enough and I don't have enough facts to kind of weigh in really, and I don't want to say things that could be offensive to people. So I'm just going to stay out of it. But from a playing point of view, is Jeff Cameron a good player? Yes, he is a good player. Is he what the Revolution need? I don't really think he is. Really? I don't know. I'm still really torn on it. I think he would be a good addition, but I'm then thinking like Ali Baba and Antonio really haven't put a foot wrong. Gianni, when he plays at the centre back again, he's not, I don't know what Cameron would bring, other than a wealth of experience, obviously, yes, which would be great for them to learn off him. But other than that, I don't know. Is he a starting player every single week in, week out? I don't know. That's my question to you guys. Is Jeff Cameron a starting player for you? Don't take away everything, every other aspect. That his political views, what he could do in the dressing room, all of that. Jeff Cameron, as a soccer player, is he a starting player for the New England Revolution if he comes in? That's my question to you this week, guys. But yeah, obviously we've got now to look forward to the game against LA Galaxy. Obviously, huge game against a team that have been performing quite well as of recent. It's definitely kind of better than what they were doing last season. But at the same time, they're not unbeatable. Portland beat them. San Jose got a draw against them. DC got a draw against them, but they did actually crush Columbus Crew. So and obviously that's the team they last played, which is not good to come off such a good performance. Obviously, there's lots to talk about. Zlatan coming to obviously Foxborough, which a lot of players, gate sales will be up, which is, it's really fickle, but it's obviously good for the club that, if he does play, I don't know if he's going to actually play, to be fair or not, but if he does play, people are buying tickets anyway, thinking they're going to see him. So that's great for the Revolution. Obviously, it's not the reason why you should be going to a match just to see Zlatan play, but obviously I can understand the draw. If it's he's a big player, he's a very charismatic person. I can completely understand the draw, and if Revolution kind of get off that, anything in the way of gate sales because he's going there, then we'll take it. We'll take it all day long. In terms of the games, I am hoping for a slightly altered starting lineup, but I just don't know if he's going to do it or not, is he? I just seriously don't know. Okay, I'm going to go for what I hope. This is what I hope he will play, not what I think he'll play. This is what I hope he will play. So obviously Matty Turner in goal, right back Farrell, then in the centre back partnership I'm going to go for Annie Barbar and Antonio. Left back I'm going to go for Somi, just based on the fact that he did have a decent game, and this could be kind of him, maybe something's clicked in his head, he's not been in the team now, he's really fighting for his place, and this could be the game for him to come back and show us what he can do in a Revolution shirt. I'm then going to go for Wilf and Casido as the kind of partnership in front of the defence, purely because I think Wilfred Zahibo will just sit and defend against that back, just in front of that back four. Casido's going to have a little bit more kind of freedom to kind of get forward when he needs to. Obviously there is a shout there that we could play Callum Rowe alongside Wilfred Zahibo, because I don't think that's happened too many times this season. But for me, I think Casido's not really put too much wrong, and he had a decent game against Seattle, so I think he should get the nod. Then going to go for Christian Pania out on the left hand side, because why would you drop him? Diego Fundunguez in the central midfield spot, and then we're going to go for Brandon Boy on the right hand side, because I've been blabbing on about it for weeks. And then up top, this is where this is where I get a bit of hate now. I am thinking to not play Tilbury. He's not had the best run of form as recently. Didn't play very well at all against Seattle. He might be fatigued. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm actually just completely lost and didn't really get. So is this the opportunity now? Now I'm not going to say Femi because he's out injured anyway. But do we try Nemeth up top? Do we give Christian Nemeth an opportunity to play up top on himself as the lone out and out striker and see what he can do? So I mean, I don't think Juan hasn't really proven what he should be back in the team. There's an argument there saying that Nemeth hasn't either. So I don't know. Do we go back to Brian Wright? He's not performed too badly when he's come off the bench. Is this an opportunity for Brian Wright to come on and showcase what he can do? But I think this is the time now where we need to show our depth, play our cards, and not play Teal. Let Teal have a break now. He's done well. He's done really, really well. But maybe we just got to let him have a rest now and take the weight of the burden on his shoulders of being the. He's not the only goal scorer, but it's hard for a lone striker up there sometimes. So let's let maybe Nemeth have a go. I'm going to go for Nemeth. Will Brad play that formation? He probably will play the formation. Will Brad play that starting lineup? No, he won't. He won't start Brandon Boy. So predictions on the scoreline. I am going to go for a 2-1 Revolution win, because I can never predict that Revolution are going to lose ever. Anyway guys, I've rambled for far too long in this one. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to share your support by sharing it around, dropping likes, dropping reviews, dropping 5 stars, all that kind of I don't know where you're listening to it on. Wherever you're listening to this, make sure you do whatever you can do to say that you've enjoyed it, or to share it around the Revolution community, because that would be much appreciated. Anyway guys, I've spoke for far too long as it is. I hope you have a nice one and enjoy your weekend.